Hi everyone, Lisa here from Fireside Strategic. In the Fireside Chat series, we're celebrating leaders that combine humanity as well as great strategy to build wonderful organizations. Right now, I'm chatting with Arjun Pillai, founder and CEO of Insent.ai. Arjun, thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. Great to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
Of course. Can you tell our audience a little bit about Insent.ai?
Sure. Yeah. So the name Insent comes from intent and consent. These are the two words that's where the name comes from. Fundamentally, it's a B2B chat-based platform that puts the buyer at the center of the experience. So in my opinion, over the past several years, there has been so much pushy and spammy marketing happening. So we are trying to change that. How can we make it easy for the buyer to buy from companies? That is the mission, or that is the quest that we are on. And we help that mission by giving a chat platform to companies so that they can engage their website visitors in a very efficient way.
Just to clarify, so if this is a chat platform, what about it makes it such that the outreach, the marketing isn't pushy, isn't salesy?
Yeah, so a few things, right? The fundamental of it is, can the buyer control the experience at least to an extent, right? There are a few things. So first thing the system does not do is it does not fake a human. So the system is built in a way that if it is a bot, it is a bot. If it is a human, then it is a human. There'll be image and title and name and everything that's showing up. So the system does not camouflage itself to be a human. So that's one. There are a bunch of bots that will do that, and people will always find that it's a bot. And so the second thing is there is a lot of buyer control. Like if the bot starts asking a question, if the buyer is like, you know what, that's not something I need, and closes it, then the system will not act for the next 20 minutes. So there is a buyer control. So unlike when you go to the next page, it pops up again, next page pops up again, that we don't do that. And as far as the administrator of the system is concerned, we have given a lot of ability for them to control when and how the system works. Right? Like they can control the time delay, they can control the greeting messages, they can control the pop sound or not. So, there's a lot of control that we are giving to the company administrators so that they put the platform in a non-intrusive way.
That's very cool.
Yeah, we have also taken care of the design and, like how many pixels are we occupying on a website. We have had like a 1 hour discussion on how many pixels should a chat platform take on a website so that it's not too intrusive, but also it can serve its purpose. So, there has been a lot of thought process that has gone into making a chat platform into a buyer enablement platform.
I love that. You're taking something that's a technology and it feels perhaps so not human, but by having very deliberate decisions around who has control where, you're able to infuse humanity into the technology, which essentially turns it into a conversation.
Exactly. In fact, we call ourselves as a human first chat platform. That's our positioning.
That's very cool. So, taking a little step back, could you tell us a little bit about your story and what inspired you to start this company?
Sure. Yeah. So I am an engineer by education. I graduated my engineering back in 2010. I was in India at that time. After working in a company for about a couple of years, I always wanted to do something of my own. So I just resigned, started my first company. This was when I was 23, along with my college mates. That company I ran for about 4.5 years, grew from like 4 people to like 72 people. Then raised a couple of rounds. We had about 110,000 users using the product and about 200 companies using the product. And eventually I sold that company to a company in Colorado. That was in 2016, second half of 2016. Then this company wanted me to move over to the US. So I moved to the US in 2017 from India, took up a leadership role, grew my team further to about 160 people. Then, once you are bitten by the startup itch, you want to kind of come out and do something again. So I left that company in 2018 and consulted for a little bit of time to learn more things. Then later half of 2018, I decided to start something again. And by the end of 2018, I had a long-term friend. His name is Prasanna. He's my current co-founder and CTO. So we've been chatting on a few ideas. We thought that this idea was pretty cool. This whole real-time paradigm was coming together very well. And I saw that the bots are actually getting a bad name because it is being intrusive and people hate it. People are hardwired to close pop-ups and all of this. I just think that there is a lot more that you can do in a real-time selling and buying paradigm. So we decided to start a company to solve that. That's how we ended up starting Insent, early part of 2019, March of 2019 to be exact. And since then, we've been doing well, raised a couple of rounds here also, and we are about 40 people team today between Canada, US, and India.
That's very cool. Something I'm so curious about is, you've started a company, a very successful one in India, and now you're doing the same thing in the United States. Could you tell us a little bit about, from a human perspective, what are the differences between starting a company in India and then starting one here?
Yeah, it's interesting. Both, let's see. One of the biggest thing that I have known starting in different parts of the world. So I come from a extreme southwest part of India. And when I started, startups were not a mainstream thing. Since then, things have changed in the past 10 years. Definitely things have changed. So my company was the first ever company, first product company ever in the history of my state to get acquired ever. Right. So you can also imagine the maturity of the ecosystem. We have successful companies, but those who are in the services domain, not in the product domain.
Right.
Right. So coming from there, I had to figure out everything on my own. How do you do a term sheet? How do you do a funding? How do you work with investors? How do you stage an acquisition? Like with minimum support, we pretty much, how do you crack US market sitting out of India? So all of this were learnings that we had to learn on our own. Versus in this company, we got amazing advisors all around us, because there is such a critical mass of people in US who have been there and done that and are helpful. Right. So you can go human to human, put a email saying that I need help with this thing. Can you help? And many at times in my experience, people are like, sure, let's put 30 minutes on the calendar. Let me help you out with that. So that experience difference has helped me to drive Insent a lot faster than my first company.
It's very cool. So just a very supportive network, and doing something rather than doing something from scratch that's never been done before, which by the way is very impressive. It sounds like you're using the infrastructure that already exists here to build on top of that and use your experience alongside.
Exactly. That's what's happening.
So now you've built it up to a sizable team for a company founded in 2019. What is it like to lead this multinational team?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, we are still a very small team. 40 is like compared to where we want to go, we are still in day one, something like that. Yeah, no, the multinational team, I think the team is doing great. Like part of the reason why I'm excited about driving a company is because of the ability to work with amazing people, right? And the ability that it gives to work with young people, or the people who are just starting off with their career, or even experienced people, and learn from them. So the team building is a critical piece of my excitement in starting up. So I get motivated from my team. Running this team has been pretty easy and straightforward, I'd say, because we were fortunate to hire some amazing people. At the end of the day, it boils down to that, right? If you hire accountable people who are hardworking and who are responsible for themselves, and who are with the company not for the money but for something beyond. Like I have always thought my team, it's crazy. I see them shipping code at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
Salespeople sitting down and doing prospecting Sunday evening, their time, right? Like when I see all these out of the box kind of work that people are putting in, you cannot motivate a person with salary to do these kinds of things. They just have to be internally motivated because they believe in what they are doing. They are excited about what they are doing. They are learning from what they are doing. And luckily for us, that has happened. There's a deliberate effort from my side and my co-founder side across the company to build out the company as a knowledge economy.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, that's a word that we use internally, which means we want to the when somebody asks me why should somebody join Insent, my first answer is learning. You will learn faster than 99.9% of the people out there. Then comes salary, stock options, perks, casual work environment, Mac, whatever. It all comes, but this is the first one. We intentionally don't give people 30% hikes when they join, or 20%, 10%, whatever that hike they are asking for. If they are simply asking that hike, then we don't end up hiring those people. We give good salaries. I'm not saying we don't pay people, but I'm just saying that if people are putting salary as the first thing, they are not the right fit for us.
Yeah, you want people that really are excited about building something
Exactly.
and
That
learning.
opportunity. Yep.
Beautiful. So, how would you define your leadership style as, a fairly young but successful CEO from another country? Like, how do you lead your company? What's your role?
Oh yeah. I would define my, I have never done that, but if I try to,
That's
then I,
okay. This is why we're having fun together.
yeah, you've put me on the spot here. But I think it is, I lead the company with the I'm a vulnerable CEO. Let me put it that way.
Mm,
I don't try to get on the mantle all the time. I intentionally don't try to get on the mantle all the time. And I say sorry more than others probably. And I accept mistakes more than others in many cases. Um, yeah, so I would call myself as a vulnerable CEO. I want to, when someone says, hey, what is the roadmap that we are going to build in the month of June? I'm like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Are we going to raise this month or next month? I'm like, I don't know. I'll figure it out. So that I got this from somewhere else. I know it's a finite possibility, and I don't know it's an infinite possibility, right? I know it's only a little bit. I don't know it's a lot. So if you feel comfortable saying I don't know to yourself and to the team, you gain a power of a position of strength. So that's where I lead from.
that's
I'm
beautiful.
Yeah, and that gives the rest of the team the ability to raise their hand and say, I screwed up. This is how I screwed up. This is how I'm gonna fix this. So that starts from not only me but my co-founder also.
That's such a wonderful culture. I love that the term used was vulnerable. I think that's what really powerful leadership is built of.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is not my concept. I did not invent it, right? I just looked around, see these amazing people building out amazing companies. My first company, I struggled to be vulnerable, right? Because CEO is this role that everyone is looking up to. This guy knows everything, right? Investors and team members, everyone is like, this guy knows everything. And CEOs inside, we are like, I have no idea. I don't know what to do. So at that time, I struggled to kind of say it openly that I don't know enough things here. I'm also figuring out. But over the years, doing it for 8 years now, I believe something like that. Yeah, 8 years, I have gotten to a point where I'm very comfortable saying I don't know.
That's beautiful. 2019 must interesting year to start a company given the pandemic that hit in the early 2020. Curious to learn, how did the COVID-19 pandemic impact you, your team, your customers?
Yeah, it's interesting. 2020 Jan is when we actually closed our first customer.
Oh boy.
And so I went to the market end of Jan 2020 and COVID hit, right? So what happens outside COVID 2020, I don't even know as far as the product sales is concerned, because the whole growth happened in that time frame. And we closed the round, the team grew from like, I don't know, 7 or 8 people then to like 40 people now. So the whole growth for the company happened during that time frame. So has that impacted in a negative way? Absolutely, it has impacted in a negative way. But was that like a really bad thing? I don't think so. It didn't impact us in a way that put us under. But when COVID happened, with all the uncertainty going on, we were a small company. We had some money in the account, but we hadn't raised our seed round at that time. So you have to plan things, right? So what we decided is, okay, here is how we are going to do it. If there is a need to bring down our expenses, we are going to have the salary or take less salary for the founders first. So we'll keep reducing founder salary to a level where we'll see if that's working, and we'll do that for 3 months. If that's not working, then everybody else will founders will take a big cut, and the rest of the team will take smaller cuts. We decided that we are not going to let go of anybody because of COVID. That an early decision, and we had money also to support that, right? I'm not saying that every company who let go of people did super bad or anything. Sometimes you have to, right? Because otherwise the whole company will go under. In our case, it wasn't like that, and we were not a big team, and everybody in the team was working very hard. So we made some of those choices. It didn't get to any of that. The company grew, the revenue grew, we ended up raising the round. All of that happened. But those were some of the early decisions that we took in case the company gets to it.
Wow, it sounds like you were so flexible, and that flexibility actually fueled your growth.
Yeah, you can say that. I mean, in general, I think founders are these people who have something broken inside them. Uh, like, think about it. Every new entrepreneur has a 5% winning this game. Probably this is the only thing that you would do if someone tells that there is a 5% probability of winning this, right? But entrepreneurs do it because something is broken inside them. So and most of the good people whom I know, they will take the bullet first, right? That's why they are leaders. So if COVID is coming your way, then you have to bite the bullet first, bring down your salary first, and then see if you can retain your people. I don't, laying off and steadying the company is not the right strategy, in my opinion.
Yeah. Sounds like you did the smart thing. And the funny thing is that at the end of the day, the tech industry is doing really well.
Yeah, exactly. We were the fortunate ones, right? Like there are so many other industries which got badly hit. But tech was pretty. It didn't impact. Everybody thought it would have been a much bigger impact than it actually ended up being.
Yeah. So now, it's 2021. Summer's going to come soon. I'm curious to hear what are the goals for this coming year? It sounds like you have a lot of ambitious goals. Would love to hear a little more about it.
Yeah. Let's see the goals. It's about growth of the company. That's pretty much all we are tying everything to the growth of the company. And we have got some revenue goals that we want to hit, and then to hit those revenue goals there are marketing goals, sales goals, team goals, all of that, right? Like the objective and key results kind of thing. um, that's what we are focusing on. Essentially, we have enough money in the account to keep scaling up and accelerating. Revenue is growing. We have some amazing customers. We are learning every day in terms of what are the pains that we can solve for them. We as a company, we are very strong on our product. As a team, we have a lot of product expertise in the company. So just build on those strengths, right? Product is the key strength of the company, so build on that strength and use that to achieve some of the business goals.
That's beautiful. So as far as growth comes, revenue comes from clients. Could you tell us a little bit about who your ideal client is?
Sure. Yeah, we typically sell to companies between 100 employees to 2,000 employees. I know that's a wide gap, but we have customers pretty much across, and there's nothing stopping us from serving somebody in that 100 to 2,000 mark. And then within that, we only serve B2B companies. So we are a B2B company, and they should be a B2B company. So it's B2B2B. And typically, our customers have a pretty good marketing maturity, like they are using a HubSpot or a Marketo or a Pardot, something like that as their marketing automation and those kinds of things. That's our typical customer base, and of course they should have a website where they are expecting prospects to come in, because we are a website based engagement platform. So which in these days, because of COVID and all, the digital transformation is really real, and everybody has got a pretty good website and those kinds of things. So that's our ideal customer.
And once an ideal customer signs up with you, what is their experience like, and how is it different than another chatbot company?
Yeah, one of the primary things that they would see, and that is not only about other chat companies, but across the other companies, we are a very customer success heavy organization. In fact, 8 months before hiring, I mean, yeah, 6 months before hiring my first salesperson, I hired a customer success person, which is very, very unlikely in most of the companies, right? And that also shows how much we as a team are committed to customer success. So they would see a very, very high touch, white glove treatment that they are getting right from the word go all the way to onboarding, implementation, and ongoing business reviews and those kinds of things. And it's by choice because I believe that chat is still at the front end of adoption. Companies and marketers need some help. So, we are helping them out. That's how we are thinking. So that is the primary thing that they will observe. The second thing that they will observe, and they have reported many times to me, is they are always impressed at the speed at which we roll out new features. If you go to our blog, what you would see is every month there are like 2 or 3 major features that are going out. Our product updates email have about a 2-week cadence. So every 2 weeks something is shipping. So that's the second thing that I think they'll notice. Yeah, I think those two might be the big ones that they are noticing. Third one is probably how responsive and flexible we are in terms of if they have an ask for a feature, then we try to prioritize it quickly if we can, and if it makes sense, all of that. That's probably the third thing that some of them at least might notice.
Well, sounds like you have some very lucky clients.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Our customers, they really love us. They have been very, I mean, many of them have served as references to other customers, to our new investors, all of it, and they've been very kind.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, look, Arjun, as we come to the end of our time together, a question that I love to wrap up with is, when you're not building this amazing company, what do you like to do for fun?
Yeah, and I'm a big music lover, so I listen to music all the time. I also watch movies. Not so much of series, but movies. I don't like getting sucked into binge watching series from Netflix. I don't do that, but individual movies, if I can get it, then I usually watch them. I love badminton. It's not an American sport, but
Oh,
growing
I
up in
love badminton too. I hear you.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of badminton. So I go out and play here whenever possible. I also love other games, but like cricket, for example, is every Indian pretty much plays cricket. I don't get so many opportunities here, but yeah. So those are some of the other things that I do. As volunteering part of thing, every weekend I spend at least 30 to 45 minutes talking to one startup, and this startup is some random startup. Somebody will ping me on a LinkedIn or send me a message or an email saying, hey, we are in this position, we need some time from you, can you help us out? So since I was in that position and I did not get any help growing my first company, when somebody is reaching out to me, I see myself in them. So I'm like, okay, you know what, how about Saturday 10:30 a.m. ET, can you do it? And they're like, okay. And then yeah, I spend like 30 to 45 minutes every weekend pretty much spending with one startup. I don't really do like, if they come back and then I'll give more, but yeah, it's not like a equity advice or none of that. They'll ask me questions. If I know the answer, I'll do it. If I can connect them with somebody, I'll do it. That's all.
That's really nice. I love that you're paying it forward. Sounds like you're contributing to growth, not just in your own company, but across the whole startup and entrepreneurial spectrum.
In very, very little way, but yes,
You
I
know
hope
what?
that.
All the little things we can do.
Yeah, you try, yes, and I believe that what goes around comes around. So
That's beautiful. Well, look, Arjun, thank you so much for joining me today. I really love learning about your company, about your journey, about your leadership style, and I'm really excited to see where the future takes you.
absolutely, the future is exciting for all of us. I hope everybody is safer, and it's years of prosperity to come.